by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. That is Nick Wright. Brandon Flowers is with us this morning. A big morning here on the show, and it's going to be fun. Hall of Famer Dan Marino and Super Bowl champ Torrey Holt will be joining the conversation a little bit later, which is exciting. But we're going to start this morning with a team chasing their own Lombardi Trophy, and that's the now team to beat, Kansas City Chiefs. They're officially the favorites to win Super Bowl 54 this year. Some would say just making it to Miami would be enough for a franchise who hasn't been to the Super Bowl since 1970. But with reigning MVP Patrick Mahomes leading an offense that looks unstoppable, just making it might not be enough. Brandon, I'll start with you. Would anything shy of winning the Super Bowl be a failure for the Chiefs at this point, with the season they've had?
It definitely won't be a failure because of the season they had. We have to pump our brakes on the Kansas City Chiefs a little bit. I know they're a great team, but they're not the 07 Patriots who went 16 games, winning during the regular season, and then when they got to the postseason, you felt like they should finish it off. This is a team that should have been the 5th seed if the Patriots wouldn't have laid the egg. They had a lot of hiccups during the season with Mahomes having a dislocated knee and Matt Moore coming in for a while. Then Tyreek Hill get injured, and then Damian Williams get injured, and then the defense played horrible at the beginning of the year. Yeah, they're 19th in scoring defense weeks 1 through 10, 11 through 17. That's when they picked it up, and now they're first. And then in passing, they was 8th. Now they're 13th. But in total defense, they was 22nd weeks 1 through 10, and now they're 9th. So the defense picked it up during the latter part of the season. So this is a team that hasn't been destined all year on this road for the Super Bowl. I think they picked it up, and in this last playoff game when Mahomes put up 51, that's what got us going about the Chiefs. But I definitely don't think it's a failure right now.
And like you said, they did get a lot of help from the Patriots getting out early and the Ravens as well.
Well, but that to me is part of the story. So I understand the logic that if they win this week, and they will, and they make it to their first Super Bowl in 50 years, that with Mahomes being there, and you're probably going to be up against either one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in Aaron Rodgers or the dominant team in the NFC this year, the Niners, you lose in the Super Bowl in a close game, Mahomes in year 3. How could that be anything other than a really successful season? But here's why it would be, failure might be a touch strong, but a massive disappointment. Because of all those things that happened, because you are not guaranteed the exceptional health that they currently have. Very often you can be skating above the fray, and then in week 15, a critical player goes down and that derails you. That's not the case. The Chiefs suffered their injuries early, and now aside from Juan Thornhill, the safety who had been playing great, they've got all their key players in. And even the Juan Thornhill injury turned out to maybe in a moment be a blessing in disguise, because who replaced him? Daniel Sorensen, who makes the tackle on the fake punt and then forces the fumble on the ensuing kickoff. Another thing that is unique about this year's Chiefs team that we don't know how long it will be the case. They have Andy Reid and 3 other people who might one day be head coaches. Eric Bieniemy will be a head coach at some point in this league. Dave Taub, special teams coach. Now that we have another special teams coach that just got hired as a head coach in Joe Judge, he's been the best special teams coach in football for a decade. And Steve Spagnuolo, when the defense has had this type of turnaround, type of guy who might get another chance being a head coach after his first chance didn't work out. Also, how lucky have the Chiefs been the last 3 weeks in things they did not control? They had no control over Miami beating the Patriots, but that allowed them to get the bye. They had no control over Tennessee beating Baltimore, but that allows them to host the AFC Championship game. So years like that, you've got to take advantage of. And you've got to take advantage of the window before you pay Patrick Mahomes, because this is the most talent that he's probably ever going to have around him, because this is the cheapest he will ever be as far as in relation to the percentage of the salary cap. So I really do feel this is their moment. I believe in my heart of hearts, if a coin flip goes a different way last year, they win last year's Super Bowl. If they win the overtime coin toss against New England, I think they drive the field, score a touchdown, Brady never gets the ball, and the Rams, I don't know if they would have been held to 3 points by the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I think they could have won that game. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, Brandon, it's a feeling like, man, last year we were right there. don't get the coin flip. This year it would mean you either lose a home AFC Championship game to the Titans, which would be crushing, or you get all the way to the Super Bowl and you just can't get over the hump, and the Andy Reid questions then remain. For all those reasons, failure might be too strong. Massive disappointment given how the season has played out, I think it would be.
But because of the Mahomes window, that's why I don't consider it a failure. I feel like Mahomes can be in the Super Bowl for the next 8 out of 10 years the way he's playing right now. Even if they don't pay a Tyreek Hill, that's what Hartman came in for. So I think the Chiefs will always have a great team. They have a great play caller in Andy Reid. And Andy Reid, he knows how to build a team with talent and character. So because I feel like they will be in the Super Bowl in the next year, in the next years to come, that's why it's not a complete failure.
So I think what you laid out was a really great sort of macro of why they will be there. I think if you take a deeper look at the micro on all of it, why do you think they'll come out of the things that you said? You mentioned 5 different things that they can't control. The one thing they can control is the way they start the game, which was so poor against the Texans. Why do you think that will be different next time they take the field?
Oh, well, because they haven't been a slow starting team all year. Because you look at what happened, each individual moment is explainable, even if you don't expect it. The Texans have a 3rd and short, and to Bill O'Brien's credit and that play calling credit, they had clearly, to me, that was a during the week scouting. They saw how the Chiefs play 3rd and short. If you go trips to the side, potential bubble screen, and they hit them over the top, there's a touchdown. Then next, the Chiefs get the ball. Travis Kelce, who ended up having a monster game, drops a pass he never drops. Okay, now we're punting. But now the punt gets blocked. And now Tyreek Hill muffs a punt. He's not even a regular punt returner. Those, to me, are almost all one-off type of situations for a team that hasn't been a slow starting team. They've been quite the opposite. They've been a front-running team. They jump out all over you, and then they hold on for dear life as teams try to execute a comeback. And I don't think the Titans have the personnel, even if they do make mistakes, to jump out to a big lead. I'm not saying they couldn't get the lead early, but they don't have the quick strike offense the way the Texans do, to where they can hit you over the head for 60 yards to Kenny Stills, and all of a sudden 7-0 2 minutes into the football game.
Let me just ask you a quick question. Is it a conversation that has to be had before they go out from Andy Reid to the players? Hey, we didn't start well let's think about, let's keep it in the back of our heads before we take the field this week, or is that one and done because of the way they ended that game?
That's one thing the Chiefs can't do. Just think Patrick Mahomes can always bail these guys out. Because Mike Vrabel is a very, very intelligent defense. I know he's not a D coordinator, but he's savvy. He's going to put Patrick Mahomes in a position he's going to force 2 turnovers this game. So the Chiefs just can't think Mahomes can bail their way out of the game every week, so they cannot start slow. This Tennessee team, they're tough. They can run the ball, and I know Tannehill hasn't been having a lot of completions in his playoffs, but he's capable if he has to. So they definitely have to be careful with this Titans team, not because of Henry and Tannehill, but Mike Vrabel and his defense. They're going to come to play.
Well, let me make this part very clear, because the genesis of the discussion is it a failure if they don't win the Super Bowl? Hosting the AFC Championship game against the 9-win Tennessee Titans, it is absolutely a failure if they don't win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, if they don't make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely.
If they lose this weekend, to host back-to-back conference championship games. They had never hosted the whole time the Chiefs have been a franchise since season 1 of the NFL. In fact, even predates the NFL. Or season 1 since the merger. The last 57 years as franchise, they had never hosted an AFC Championship game until last year and this year. Never had it in their building. If they go back-to-back losses in AFC Championship games, one where they had a lead in the 4th quarter and the other to the 6th-seed Tennessee Titans, then it is a failure. If you want to say if you get to the Super Bowl and lose a close one to Rodgers or the great Niners team, you can deal with it, fine. But if they don't get to Miami, then it absolutely is a failure at this point because of how the bracket is
And then
fallen.
does the proverbial monkey remain on Andy Reid's back at that point?
Of course.
Definitely.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, why is this AFC Championship unlike anything we've seen in almost 2 decades? We'll let you know next on FS1. You can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel. It's on Sirius XM. We'll be right back.